Our world is changing. Whether it's due to climate change, earthquakes, or tourists, many of the world's most amazing natural wonders are under threat. So if you want to catch them before they disappear, you'd better hurry up. From the Great Barrier Reef to the Florida Everglades, here are the places you should visit before they vanish from the face of the earth. Number 10. Rainforests. Rainforests are among the world's most important ecosystems. They house 50% of the world's animal and plant life, plants that can both feed and heal us. Ever heard of aspirin? Millions take it every day to help prevent strokes and soothe headaches, and it's derived from willow trees found in the rainforest. In fact, around 7,000 medical compounds prescribed by our doctors are derived from the plants found there. In 1985, their estimated retail value was $43 billion. Even more amazing is that 70% of the 3,000 plants identified by the National Cancer Institute as having anti-cancer properties are found in our rainforests. Yet we're destroying what could heal us. Rainforests provide us with oxygen and regulate our weather by stabilizing the movement of heat and water. They also trap huge amounts of carbon that is released into the atmosphere when the trees are set ablaze by slash and burn agriculture. Rainforests now only cover 4% of the surface of the globe, but they once covered 14%. The rainforests of Madagascar will be the first to go. Home to 27 million people, Madagascar has a unique ecosystem and stunning mangrove landscapes. But this ancient forest is being destroyed to provide the Western world with furniture and the locals with farming land and charcoal. According to Global Forest Watch, last year Madagascar lost 3% of its rainforests. Since 2010, it's lost over 17% of its rainforest. If that rate continues, its rainforest will completely disappear in 38 years. So visit them soon if you plan to. Elsewhere in Papua New Guinea, 1/3 of their forests have already been destroyed, either through illegal logging or their government selling the land to corporate buyers. The land is used primarily to produce palm oil, a key ingredient in skincare products and chocolate. According to figures in the journal Biotopica, 24% of the rainforest will be gone in the next 30 years if current rates are maintained, and the whole lot will disappear in the next 90. The Amazon rainforest, the largest in the world, is also under serious threat. It covers more than half of Brazil and much of neighboring countries and has been decreasing at a rate of around 14,000 square kilometers per year over the past 10 years. It alone produces 20 to 40% of the world's oxygen, which is why it's nicknamed Earth's lung. That's an area the size of Connecticut turned to desert or agricultural land every 12 months. In general, experts estimate that we're losing 137 plant, animal, and insect species every single day due to rainforest deforestation. That equates to 50,000 species a year. The biggest threat to our rainforest comes from cattle rearing. And while soybean farming also contributes to deforestation, the vast majority of the soybean crop is used to feed cows. I know how good a steak tastes and how bitter this pill is to swallow, but that means the biggest thing you can do to help the planet is stop eating beef. Number 9. Glaciers. The globe has increased in temperature by a degree over the last 40 years. If this seems like nothing, consider that a rise of only another half degree will make the planet we live in unrecognizable. As a result, the world's 200,000 glaciers have been melting steadily since the 1960s. A recent study by the U.S. Geological Survey warned that there won't be any glaciers left in mainland U.S. by the end of our lifetimes. Of the 160 found in 1910, there are now only 26 left. The Himalayan mountain range in Asia, that includes Mount Everest and 5,500 glaciers, could also barely have any ice left on it by 2100. The European Alps tell a similar story, and they've already lost 90% of their glacial volume. But why should you care? Because glaciers provide water. The Himalayas, for example, provide water for local ecosystems and millions of people in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. When they're gone, so are these vital water sources. Not only that, when they melt faster than they should, melting glaciers lead to huge floods and avalanches, such as the 1962 Huascarán avalanche in Peru that killed 4,000 people. Number 8. Kwaka Oasis. This small town in the Peruvian desert is home to only 100 people, but it's visited by tens of thousands of tourists every year. They're attracted by the picturesque scenery and the chance to ride the sand dunes on boards and in buggies. But this remote oasis town is being slowly swallowed by the desert. The oasis was once self-sustaining, but water levels have been decreasing recently. Part of the reason is that locals have installed wells to access groundwater, while a drop in rainfall and higher evaporation rates from increased summer temperatures has meant it now needs to have water artificially pumped in from the city of Ica just to keep the town's tourism trade afloat. As budget concerns and restrictions on pumping have increased, the future of this South American oasis remains unclear. Number 7. Venice. The historic, world-famous city of Venice is sinking. Because of a combination of rising sea levels and simple gravity, the Italian city's buildings and crisscross of canals join 100 small islands. But they have inadequate foundations, and the marsh on which the city sits is compacting. The buildings are sinking into the mud, and the ornate stonework is slowly crumbling away. The problems faced by Venice are made worse by mass tourism, and cheap flights now make it available to more and more tourists every year. These problems have been anticipated for a long time, but what's being done about it? They can't prevent water from entering the city, as water circulation is needed to clear out sewage. Few of the current proposals are addressing the problems, and the city is at the mercy of its slowly collapsing architecture and more modern climate change. The only real solution is the MOSE project, which is basically a giant wall meant to stop the flooding. But even still, the project has years to go until completion. According to a study by the scientific journal Quaternary International, without a new and radical solution, Venice will be completely underwater in around 80 years. Number 6. Tuvalu. If you want an even more extreme example of the problems of rising sea levels, just look to the island nation of Tuvalu. The tiny Polynesian state is only 4.5 meters above sea level at its highest point. You may not have heard of the 4th smallest country in the world, but you'll hear a lot more about it when it slowly disappears into the Pacific Ocean. It will most likely be the first nation to really feel the effects of sea level rise caused by climate change. The UN predicts Tuvalu will be uninhabitable by 2050, a real tragedy for this happy, beautiful island and its population of 11,000 people. There's a general agreement that we could see a sea level rise of up to 34.6 inches this century. This could see the shoreline retreat around 90 meters, which would devastate coastal cities all around the world, not just vulnerable islands like Tuvalu. Number 5. Chan Chan. Chan Chan is a World Heritage Site located on the coast of Peru, a seismic hotspot that makes it susceptible to earthquakes and volcanoes. But that's not the only reason this place is under threat. The walls of Chan Chan were once a great city of over 10,000 buildings, the capital of the Chamorro Empire that lasted from 900 AD to the year 1470. In the 1400s, it was the largest city in the Americas, spanning 20 square kilometers across an arid and dry landscape. But today, increased rainfall and the rising water table are turning the ancient earthen walls to mud and making them unstable. The Chamorro Empire ruled a huge stretch of coastal Peru for centuries, and the complexity and scale of the city is a testament to its people's impressive engineering skills. It also tells us of a sophisticated culture capable of building ornate palaces and taking on big infrastructure projects. But all this history could soon be coming to an end, because as a city built of hardened mud, rain can literally wash it away, and the changing weather patterns of recent years have brought a lot more rain. A 2007 report by UNESCO describes the erosion at Chan Chan as rapid and seemingly unstoppable. So unless someone comes up with a good idea quickly, this ancient city could be unrecognizable in a few decades. If you want to see it for yourself, you'd better hurry up. Number 4. The Maldives. The Maldives is a collection of islands in the Indian Ocean and the lowest country in the world at little over 1 meter above sea level. That's even less than Tuvalu. But unlike Tuvalu, the Maldives has a population of almost 400,000 people. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion is such a threat that the World Bank has said within 30 years, many of the islands will be uninhabitable, and those 400,000 people will need a new place to live. Already, the ocean swell often floods the land and causes damage to property. Trees on the beaches are being knocked over as sand gets eroded at their roots, which in turn only leads to even more beach erosion. The Maldives are literally being washed away, and the clock is ticking before the whole place is underwater. Number 3. The Great Barrier Reef. Just underneath the sea off the coast of Australia is something so vast it can be seen from space. The same size as Japan, the Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest coral reef system and the largest structure built by living organisms, including humans. But as huge as it is, its size has decreased by more than half over the past 30 years due to rising sea temperatures. Much of it was killed off in the summers of 2016 and 2017. This map by a professor who led the surveys shows the damage from 2016 alone, showing over 81% of northern reefs and 33% of central reefs being severely bleached. Unprecedented high ocean temperatures killed the coral, bleaching it to an eerie bone-white color that can't support the huge network of life that living coral can. Corals may require warm water to thrive, but they're very sensitive to small changes in temperatures. By making the oceans too warm, it's made life impossible for fragile tropical corals and the marine life that depends on it. Figures in the journal Nature reflect a very real fear that the entire Great Barrier Reef may be a graveyard in a couple of decades. Though the Australian government has implemented Reef 2050 to combat this destruction by restricting risks like poor development, the researchers aren't convinced these efforts are enough to save the reefs. Number 2. The Florida Everglades. Another ecosystem not found anywhere else is the Florida Everglades. This coastal swamp soaks up carbon dioxide from the air better than rainforests do, but it is now half the size it once was. It's Floridians themselves who have done most of the damage through a combination of water diversion and agricultural runoff, which has eaten into the unique national park. Taking fresh water away from the Everglades upsets the delicate balance between the salt water of the sea and fresh water, and this changing ratio is damaging the ecosystem and threatening animals like the American crocodile and the Florida panther, which depend on the glades for their survival. A restoration program has been backed by Congress to return the water to the Everglades, but this is running into more problems because of another familiar threat: rising sea levels. The mangroves of the Florida Everglades have been retreating from the rising salt levels brought in by the sea, but are now backed up against a wall. According to monitoring organization World Heritage Outlook, the Everglades as we know them are set to become a memory within 30 years, which just goes to show you don't have to travel halfway across the world to see the terrifying effects of mankind's environmental destruction. Number 1. Naples, Italy. Mount Vesuvius. It's been thousands of years now since this infamous volcano wiped out Pompeii, the ancient Roman city, in a disaster that has been retold for centuries. Mount Vesuvius is an active volcano in southern Italy that has erupted 30 times since the annihilation of Pompeii, the most recent being in 1944, when 26 people died. The Japanese volcano expert Nakata Setsuya believes we're due another cataclysmic eruption any time now, and warns that the next one will almost certainly be much, much worse. Oh, and Naples, the third largest city in Italy and home to 550,000 people, is right in the danger zone. By constantly monitoring the volcano's seismic activity 24 hours a day, we should get some warning, which will hopefully save lives when the worst hits. But if Vesuvius erupts again like it did in Roman times, the picturesque seaside city of Naples would be flattened. While seismology is an imprecise science, geological predictions warn of a serious eruption any day now. So if you want to relax on the beach or explore the cobbled back streets of Naples, you'd best be quick about it, unless you'd rather give it a miss entirely. So which of these places would you most like to visit? Do you think more should be done to save these unique habitats and historic sites? Let me know in the comment section down below, and thanks for watching.